The Dick Van Dyke Show. Starring Dick Van Dyke. Rosemary, Maury Amsterdam, Larry Matthews, and Mary Tyler Moore.
Honey, why do you keep buying me ties that won't tie for?
It's not the tie, darling. It's the tire.
I know it. Gotta have something to yell at. Darn party.
Rob, why are you so nervous? It's just a simple dinner party.
A simple... You look like you're going to the coronation.
All right, so it's an elegant, simple dinner party.
No simple dinner party ever invites the kind of people that are going to this dinner party. I don't know who invited me, and I don't know why.
I do. Mrs. Huntington invited the top writers in their fields, and you happen to be one of the tops in yours.
Yeah, but all the guests there, honey, are going to be serious writers. I'm not... You know, I've been thinking. What am I, anyway?
What are you? You're a living American male who I'm happy to be living with. What do you want to be?
I don't know. A real writer. Turn on the light. And all I write are jokes. Nothing I write has any real permanence about it. Alan says it on the television once, and it's gone forever.
But, darling, that's writing.
Well, I mean serious writing.
Well, you've been writing that book.
Which I never going to finish, no how.
Well, how about those poems you wrote to me when you were in the Army? And they were serious and beautiful.
What did you know? You were blinded by my charm and my uniform.
You weren't that charming, darling, and your uniform didn't fit. Now, those were good poems. In fact, I remember one. It was
Honey, not
beautiful.
now. I'm depressed enough anyway.
It went, time tears cruelly at a last embrace, allowing chiffon breezes to part a kiss, a friendly sun to moist happy eyes, resigning passion to limbo, love to thought, and beauty to memory.
Did I write that?
You said you did.
You know, something that's almost good.
I think it's beautiful. I've half a mind to recite it to Henry Walden tonight.
Oh, yeah, you do that. Henry Walden. What am I doing in the world going to a dinner party for a world-renowned poet?
Now, you stop that, Rob. You may not be able to write poetry like Mr. Walden, but I bet he can't write a joke like you can.
Well, I'm going to feel out of place. I'll probably be the only one there that Walden doesn't know.
Sure, a lot of people are going to be strangers to him.
Yeah, but Walden will at least have read their books.
Well, maybe he's seen your television show.
Oh, yeah, that's all poet laureates have got to do is sit around and watch variety shows on television.
Well, darling, would you really rather that we stayed home?
No, let's go ahead and go. At least I'll prove one thing.
What's that?
The television writers marry the prettiest girls. Robert Petrie. You want to duck out right now and take in a movie?
Now, you stop that.
I don't belong here.
You do so, too, belong here. This is probably going to be one of the best evenings we ever spent.
You want to bed?
Oh, Mr. and Miss... Oh, don't tell me. It's on the tip of my tongue. Peatroff, of course. Mr. and Mrs. Peatroff, I am Mrs. Huntington, your hostess. Come, I want you to meet some of my very dear friends. People, I want you to meet Mr. and Mrs. William Peatroff.
Petrie.
Oh, yes, you pronounce that. Peatroff, don't you? This is Dr. Torrance Hayworth.
Dr. Hayworth, nice to meet you.
Well, now, there's no need to be formal. Just call me Torrance. And suppose I call you Bill. Okay, Bill?
Well, no, I
Huh?
wouldn't. That's perfectly all right.
This is Thomas Evelyn.
How do you do?
Miss Evelyn, very nice to meet you.
Oh, now, Bill, let's not be formal. Just call her Tom.
Oh, certainly. Hi, Tom.
Of course, you know that Tom's first novel is being translated this fall.
No, I didn't know that. I've been meaning to read it. We have that at home, don't we, honey?
Well, I'm not... I think we might.
Oh, you read French.
Why?
It's a phrase.
Oh, it's in, well, it's Salem M alphabet.
Oh, mais vous parlez le français?
No, un petit peu, they say.
C'est brave. Actuellement, moi, je préfère que tout le monde le lise en français. L'œuvre perd quelque chose quand on le traduit, vous ne trouvez pas?
Huh? Un petit peu.
Un petit peu? Mais monsieur, c'est bien plus qu'un petit peu, je pense.
Oh, now look here. You two can argue this out later. I want Mr. and Mrs. Petroff to meet some of my other guests. Come along, darlings.
Excuse us.
What did old Tom say to you?
I don't know what I said to old Tom.
Mr. and Mrs. William Petroff.
Petrie.
Oh, I'll never get that straight. Suppose I just call you Bill.
Rob.
Bill and Rob, that's so much easier, of course. Bill and Rob, this is Yale Sampson. Yale is one of our budding English
existentialist.
Lovely. Mrs. Venetia Fellows, Bill and Rob Petroff. Bill?
Rob.
Rob?
Laura.
Venetia?
You do.
Well, I'm going to leave you two now, and I'm sure that Yale and Mrs. Fellows will take care of you.
I hope we didn't disturb your discussion.
Oh, no, not at all. Yale just finished making a point about the state of American culture.
Oh, did he?
I assume you're familiar with Yale's stand on culture in our times?
Well, no, as a matter of fact, I'm not. What is his stance?
Actually, I would say that it is my philosophy, which you call it philosophy, but it's not exactly philosophy. It's actually, I would say, simply to my proposition. My proposition, succinctly stated, adjustly stated, is that there is a plethora of the mundane, a little mundane, which is inculcating itself and creeping into the central deformity, which is naturally making a miasma and a banality, which is forming, which I would say definitely that this osmotic process is a capillary infusion of the brain, which is I call the civilization. You understand, the civilization. These processes are sort of deleteriously coming in, so therefore the osmotic process in the brain will atrophy. Someday when the brain of the balls, they will be nothing more than a vestige of me. Surely you can see that.
Well,
Well, you certainly couldn't disagree.
No, I don't disagree with that, except maybe on a couple of points there.
Which ones are those, Bill?
Rob.
Yes, I know. I met your lovely wife. What do you think, Rob?
Well, I've always felt that people are individuals.
Well, that's absolutely true, Rob, darling. But it is as individuals that these osmotic processes are most subtly deleterious. They cut away at the thought of abundance of life, which we don't understand because we throw it so. Individually and collectively, we are vulnerable. Because individually, we are vulnerable. Vulnerability, collectability, oscibility, portability, colony, paginance, pretenance, crawfordness, penetratability, ostinance, ostentation, etc., 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 ad infinitum, ad libitum, and nauseam. Surely you can see the danger.
Well, not as clearly as you do, Mr. Harvard. Yale. I do see a danger.
Yes.
What can one man do?
Yes, or one woman.
We can spread the word.
What word is that?
Verisimilitude.
Very similitude. It's a good word to spread.
To spread, sir? To stamp out?
Well, that's what I meant. You spread it and stamp it out. How about let's have some punch?
Bill, I need Yale. I know you won't mind if I steal him from you.
Oh, no, by all means, steal him.
Well, that group over there is absolutely desperate to know what his opinion is about the early works of
Hemingway. Yes, certainly.
Oh, Torrance is being absolute tyrant on his position.
Hasn't he a marvelous mind?
Marvelous.
He has the gift and the ability to say things that,
Seem vague, but are in reality meaningless.
yes. About your book, Mr. Petroff.
That's Petrie. Petrie. No F. What book?
Well, your book, The Town Crier Weeps No More.
My book?
Yes, didn't you write it?
I didn't even read it. I'm Robert Petrie.
Robert Petrie, I don't believe I'm familiar with your works.
Oh, well, I write for television.
Television?
My husband is the head writer for the Alan Brady Show.
Oh, I'm not familiar with Mr. Brody's program.
No, that's
Never
Mr.
mind.
Well, it's one of the best musical variety
I'm
shows.
sure it is, darling. But you see, I don't own a television machine. You will, excuse me, won't you?
Certainly. You still think we belong here, Rob?
Attention, attention, everyone. Now, if you'll all please take your seats. Take your seats and we'll get down to business. All right? Thank you. Thank you. Now, is there anyone here who does not know why he or she has been invited? It is not our plan to raise the full $250,000 tonight.
That's why we were invited.
We do have the feeling that the first contributions to the Henry Walden Literary Foundation should come from the esteemed members of his own profession. Now, as you know, all the monies raised are to be used to sponsor young literary talent. So, who's going to start this ball rolling? There.
I should like to contribute my first year's royalties from my new book, Death Fears Me.
Thank you, Mr. Sampson. That's a wonderful beginning for our foundation. Thank you. Now, let's see, who else? Oh, almost everyone. So, let's say we begin with Mr. H. Fieldstone Thornley. Yes, H.
Yes. I'd like to contribute 2 years of royalties from my last book of poems.
Oh, hey. Oh, now, H. Which book of poems was that? Lavender Lollipops or Point Me to the Moon?
Lavender Lollipop.
Lavender Lollipops. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, Tom, your hand is up.
Oui, I wish to contribute 6 months royalty from my next book, I Love to Love to Love to Love.
6 months royalty to I Love to Love to Love.
To love.
One more. Thank you. What do you wish to contribute, Doctor?
Well, I should like to contribute all the royalties to my book, You and Your Gallbladder.
Oh, the royalties to me and my gallbladder. That's you and your gallbladder. Thank you, Doctor. Mr. Petroff, I believe your hand was up.
Was it? Oh, I was just scratching my head. Oh, I'll give something.
What do you want us to put you down for?
Well, I've never written a book, so
I can't hear you. Speak up, Bill.
Rob.
Yes, I know. I've met her. Hello, Dad.
I said I've never written a book, so I can't contribute any royalties. Well, I do get paid for my writing. Would it be all right if I gave change? Cash?
Oh, that's splendid. How much shall we put you down for?
Whatever everybody else. Well, I can. I have a blank check.
A blank check. Oh. Now, be assured, we shan't take advantage of your generosity, dear.
Oh, no, you see, I have William Petroff. That's who they thought I was. They thought I wrote The Town Crier, Weeps No More. Oh, boy, am I so glad that we sneaked out of there.
We sneaked out of there so early, darling, we didn't even get a chance to meet Henry Walden.
Neither did William Petroff. They sent me his invitation by mistake. Should have signed his name to that check.
Why didn't you just offer $25 or $50?
Because everybody was contributing royalties. Who knows how much that is?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, darling. A year's royalties on lavender lollipops couldn't amount to more than $1.20. Why did you offer them a blank check?
What do you mean? You saw what happened. I offered that blank check, and that patron of the arts talked me into keeping it that way. Honey, the next time we are invited to a literary dinner party, will you please say to me, let's stay home and Can some plums. Oh, boy, how stupid of me. A blank check.
Oh, darling, it's all over and done with.
Oh, no, it isn't. They're going to fill that check out for any amount they want to.
How much do you think they'll fill in?
Honey, you heard Mrs. Huntington. They're going to raise $250,000.
So?
So, those are rich people. They can fill it out for $2,000 and not bat one eyelid.
Oh, well, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. What do you mean it doesn't really matter?
All we have in our checking account is $94.
94? That's impossible. The last time I looked, we had $2,100 in there.
Darling, we haven't had $2,100 in our account for months.
What happened?
$2,004 worth of mortgage, food, taxes, sickness, charity, clothing, new golf clubs, that new dress, reweaving a hole in your tweed jacket.
Okay.
So you see, no matter what Mrs. Huntington fills in, all she'll get is $94.
$14.
$14? What happened? You bought that.
They don't allow you on Park Avenue in a rented tux. What about our savings account, honey?
Oh, Rob, you're not going to touch that.
Well, why not?
Well, because if you withdraw money now, we'll lose our interest.
If that check bounces, I lose my reputation.
Oh, darling, there must be another way.
Sure, there is another way. You call up Mrs. Huntington, tell him that your husband's a big phony.
You are not a phony.
Oh, no? Then why did I let myself be invited to a party that I had no business going to? William Petroff probably stayed home crying because he wasn't invited.
The invitation was addressed to Robert Petrie. They wanted you there.
Sure, they wanted me there. They didn't want me there. They wanted my money there.
Darling, why don't you go to sleep? You can finish beating yourself in the morning.
Okay, I will. I would love to know who sent me that invitation in the first place. That big mushmouth with the beard, he belonged there, all right. Verisimilitude.
I don't own a television machine.
Vulnerability, accessibility, flamboyance, sloth, ad nauseum, ad infinitum, ad administration, etc., etc., etc. All right, I'm going to sleep.
Darling, you forgot this.
Look at that. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. That's the last time that I am ever going to get Oh, my gosh.
Rob, you really didn't give them a blank check, did you?
Yes, I did. A blank rubber one.
You mean you donated a check that's gonna bounce?
If they fill in any amount over $14...
Rob! Oh, I'm so glad you're here.
What is it, Mel?
Do you know who's in my office right this minute?
John Philip Sousa and his all-girl band.
Who's in there?
Henry Walden.
Henry Walden is here in this office?
Mel, is Mr. Walden here to see you or me?
No, he's here with a Mrs. Huntington, and they want to talk to you.
How did they seem, Mel?
Oh, fine. Now, I'm going to bring them in here, and I hope that none of us does anything that would reflect on the show.
Oh, my, am I reflecting? I must powder my nose.
Powder your head.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I know why they're here.
Probably something to do with that blank check.
I'd give anything to know who sent me that invitation.
All right, this way, folks. This is the writer's office.
Thank you.
Rob, I'll leave the introductions to you.
Well, so nice to see you again, Mr. Petroff.
Nice to see you again, Mrs. Huntington.
Hello, how do you do? I'm Henry Walden.
Sir, it's an honor to meet you.
Oh? Because of my age or my poetry?
Well, both.
Good.
I was so sorry we didn't get to meet last night.
Yeah, so was I. Now, Mrs. Huntington, I would like you to say hello to Robert Petrie.
Well, but I just said...
No, you said hello to a Mr. Petroff. You keep confusing a first-rate television writer with a third-rate novelist. Petrie, my dear, Petrie.
I am so sorry, Mr. Petrie.
Perfectly all right, Mrs. Huntington. Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Walden, I can't tell you what an honor it is to have you in this office. I'd like you both to meet my writing staff.
Yes, that's Sally Rogers and Buddy Sorrell. I enjoy your work immensely.
You enjoy our work?
Yes, I have for years.
Wait a minute, you a poet or a politician?
Politician? question, eh? All right, let's see. Buddy Sorrell, before Alan Brady, you wrote for the Billy Barrow Show. And before that, in early television, you were the very fine MC for an absolutely terrible program called Buddy's Band. And Sally Rogers, you were on the staff of the Milton Berle Show. And before that...
Whoops, before that, I was a pom-pom girl at Herbert Hoover High.
If I may interrupt, could we come to the purpose of this meeting?
Oh, yes. She wants to talk to you about that blank check of yours.
Well, hey, blank check.
Is that funny? I just remembered I have to go home and wash my cat. So I'll iron him.
About this check.
Oh, the check.
Yes, the one she railroaded you into giving her last night.
Railroaded?
Railroaded, hornswoggled, bamboozled, you name it, she did it.
Didn't you want us to have a blank check?
Never. No, I mean, I had a blank check when I was planning on filling in an amount.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I didn't mean to railroad you. Oh, I do apologize, Mr. Petroff.
Petrie.
I'm sorry. Couldn't I just call you Bill?
Why don't you just call me Rob?
Oh, I apologize, Bob.
No, that's Rob. Rob Petroff. Petrie.
Now, you see, Henry, no one can say that name. Well, the important thing's to know how much you want us to fill in.
Oh, well...
Well, now, I tell you, I'll put down a 1, and you tell us how many zeros to put after it.
How many? Well, put down 1.
1?
For a start.
Oh, nothing of the kind. No zeros.
Oh, well, $1's hardly enough, Mr. Walden. I could do a lot more than that.
Yes, well, that's what I wanted you to say.
You did?
Yes, why do you think I had them invite you to that shindig?
You had them invite me?
Well, of course. Mrs. Huntington and her committee never even heard of you.
Well, I'm just so poor at names.
No, not poor, miserable.
Well, Mr. Walden, why did you have them invite me?
Well, I wanted to get you to collaborate with me. Sit down, my boy, sit down.
Collaborate with you? On what?
Well, some misguided television executive thought that I would be the perfect personality to host and write a program on the history of American humor from the Revolution to now.
And you want me to write it with you?
For free.
You mean we'd be writing together? Like we'd be writing partners?
Yeah. Will you do it?
Well, why me?
Well, because you know humor, you know television, and you're a good writer.
Thank you very much, but I know very little about the early history of American humor.
Don't look at me. I don't even know the name of Paul Revere's horse.
Chicken, son of Flicker.
Well, don't you worry about early American humor, because I know all about it.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yes. I was there when it all started.
What was the big punchline during the American Revolution?
Let George do it. Come on, Mrs. Barrington.
Huntington.
Oh, yes. Huntington. Come on. Let's get out of here and let these people get back to work. Goodbye, everybody. And write a good show, because I'll be watching.
Oh, yes, I will, too.
Don't believe her. She never watches television, do you?
Well, I don't have very much time. I'm a pretty busy bee, you know. Bye-bye.
Bye.
She's an intellectual snob, that's what she is. But I forgive her. She's got a good heart and great legs. I hope, dear viewers, that we leave you in as good a mood as when we said good evening. Now, good night. No, don't touch that.
Well, it's over, isn't it?
Not quite. The author's credits, if you don't mind. Directed by Jason James. Written by Henry Walden and Robert Petrie. Now you may turn it off.
invite me?
Well, of course. Mrs. Huntington and her committee never even heard of you.
Well, I'm just so poor at names.
No, not poor, miserable.
Well, Mr. Wallen, why did you have them invite me?
Well, I wanted to get you to collaborate with me. Sit down, my boy, sit down.
Collaborate with you? On what?
Well, some misguided television executive thought that I would be the perfect personality to host and write a program on the history of American humor from the Revolution to now.
And you want me to write it with you?
For free.
You mean we'd be writing together, like we'd be writing partners?
Yeah. Will you do it?
Well, why me?
Well, because you know humor, you know television, and you're a good writer.
Thank you very much, but I know very little about the early history of American humor.
Don't look at me. I don't even know the name of Paul Revere's horse.
Chicken, son of Flicker.
You speak up, Bill.
Rob.
Yes, I know. I've met her. Hello, darling.
I said I've never written a book, so I can't contribute any royalties. Well, I do get paid for my writing. Would it be all right if I gave change, cash?
Oh, that's splendid. How much shall we put you down for, huh?
What are everybody else? Well, I can. I have a blank check.
A blank check. Oh. Now be assured, we shan't take advantage of your generosity, dear.
Well, no, you see, I have a blank. William Petroff. That's who they thought I was. They thought I wrote The Town Crier, Weeps No More. Oh, boy, am I so glad that we sneaked out of there.
You sneaked out of there, so we're... All right, so it's an elegant, simple dinner party.
No simple dinner party ever invites the kind of people that are going to this dinner party. I don't know who invited me, and I don't know why.
I do. Mrs. Huntington invited the top writers in their fields, and you happen to be one of the tops in yours.
Yeah, but all the guests there, honey, are going to be serious writers. I'm not... You know, I've been thinking. What am I, anyway?
What are you? You're a living American male who I'm happy to be living with. What do you want to be?
I don't know. A real writer. Turn on the light. And all I write are jokes. Nothing I write has any real permanence about it. Alan says it on the television once, and it's gone forever.
But, darling, that's writing.
Well, I mean serious writing.
Well, you've been writing that book.
Which I never going to finish, no how.
Well, how about those poems you wrote to me when you were in the Army? And they were serious and beautiful.
What did you know? You were blinded by my charm and my uniform.
You weren't that charming, darling, and your uniform didn't fit. Now, those were good poems. In fact, I remember one.
Honey, not now. I'm depressed enough anyway.
It went, time tears cruelly at a last embrace, allowing chiffon breezes to part a kiss. A friendly sun to moist, happy eyes, resigning passion to limbo, love to thought, and beauty to memory.
Did I write that?
You said you did.
You know, something that's almost good.
I think it's beautiful. That half a mind are excited to Henry Walden tonight.
Oh, yeah, you do that. Henry Walden. What am I doing in the world going to a dinner party for a world-renowned poet?
Now, you stop that, Rob. You may not be able to write poetry like Mr. Walden, but I bet he can't write a joke like you can.
Well, I'm going to feel out of place. I'll probably be the only one there that Walden doesn't know.
Sure, a lot of people are going to be strangers to him.
Yeah, but Walden will at least have read their books.
Well, maybe he's seen your television show.
Oh, yeah, that's all poet laureates have got to do, sit around and watch variety shows on television.
Darling, would you really rather that we stayed home?
No, let's go ahead and go. At least I'll prove one thing.
What's that?
The television writers marry the prettiest girls.